While I was away crusading against the mystery alien Tatanga in Sarasaland, an evil creep took over my castle and put the people of Mario Land under his control with a magic spell. This intruder goes by the name of Wario. He has been jealous of my popularity ever since we were boys, and has tried to steal my castle many times. It seems he has succeeded this time. Wario has scattered the 6 golden coins from my castle all over Mario Land. These golden coins are guarded by those under Wario's spell. Without these coins, we can't get into the castle to deal with Wario. We must collect the 6 coins, attack Wario in the castle, and save everybody.
Hello everybody, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play project of Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins for the Game Boy. However, it says DX. I'm going to be playing a ROM hack of this, made by a user known as Turres from romhacking.net. And what this one basically is, it's the same game, except it's in full remade colour. And I feel this is going to be the best way in order for me to show off this game, because this game looks, oh my god, so much better with colour. The original game itself is fantastic, but this is even better. Anyway, with all this, we get given 3 different files to select from, and there's even a right arrow over there which hints towards something. I'll get to that though maybe at a later time, as I kind of want to focus on the normal game itself that was released by Nintendo. So, if we go ahead and start with level 1, you might notice from the very start that this looks incredibly familiar to Super Mario World on the SNES. And yeah, you're not wrong really, because Mario World was released in about 1991, this one came out the year after. So, Mario Land 2 is going to take lots of ideas from Mario World. In fact, sometimes it even changes it up here and there and introduces something new, which I'm definitely going to point out for sure as we play through this. Now, the main reason why I'm playing this ROM hack in particular is not only because of the colours to showcase the game in the best way possible, but it even has better performance. Like, I don't know why. The original Game Boy version, see, had an awful lot of slowdown because this was a very ambitious title when it came out. But this ROM hack doesn't really have any of that, which makes things a little bit easier or so. Of course, the colour palettes are slightly different if you're going to play this on the Game Boy, particularly if you play it on a Game Boy Color, because most of the time when I play this, the sky itself seems to be blue, and Mario tends to have like a white and brown side of things. And I believe it's even different if you play it on the Super Game Boy. Regardless, if you're going to play like the original Game Boy version, it's going to be in black and white, or even green and black, if you're going to talk about the original Game Boy from 1989, and all sorts. So I just thought I'd throw that out there if you were kind of curious about it. I might as well also explain about why I read the lore at the beginning. This is a Game Boy title, right? So we're in the days where plots were not explained in the game. Most of them were in the instruction manuals, so I just felt like to keep you up to date with what's actually happening with how this story works, I'm just going to go ahead and read the manual out loud, and at least that way you're all caught up with it, I suppose. So, I'm going to do a bit of a tour around the world map just to show you how big this place is. Like, this really pushed the Game Boy to its limits. And the best thing about all this is all these levels you see, you don't have to go for them in a particular order. You can go towards them in any order that you wish, which grants you basically free access to this, and it's one of the more unique Mario games. If we go ahead though over to Wario's castle, we can't quite get in like it said at the beginning of the story, and Wario himself is actually at the top. He's a silhouette, so he's all mysterious. We can't see what he looks like. I love the mystery that this game builds, because you don't really see what Wario looks like until you get there, and this was his debut in a Mario game. So this was quite something when it came out. Either way, I'm just going to start with the tree zone because it's the most basic thing. And let's just start on with level 1. So, as we're going through this level, one thing I need to bring up for sure, and I'm really confused why future Mario titles don't really have this, is the absolute great use you can get out of the spin jump in this, because even though Mario World did use it, you could only activate the spin jump by pressing it while standing still. You might have noticed at the beginning, as I was going through the first level, that I kind of transitioned into the spin jump during my time in midair. See, that's the useful thing. You can jump and then just go straight into it, and it's useful for not only hitting the blocks instead of having to go underneath them or anything, but you can even make it do more damage to enemies. Oh yeah, also I do that from time to time, I don't know why. I guess I just really like the soundtrack to Mario Land 2, so I might often be ducking in time to the music. I tend to do that a lot with games for some reason. But yeah, much love to the spin jump in this. It is really smart, and if they put this in a 3D Mario title, I would love that the most, especially when you can use it to shoot fireballs from both the left and the right as you move forward. Like I say, you just get great uses out of it. You might even find that the enemies in this are a little strange, because this game is not actually made by Shigeru Miyamoto. Instead, it is made by Gunpei Yokoi, who's the creator of the Game Boy. In particular, he also made Super Mario Land and even Tetris. So that explains why the enemies look a bit out of place, and I'll be pointing out a couple of them as we go through this. That was also a bonus round as well, because there's like 2 of them every time you hit the bell. Anyway, on to the second one, the tree zone. Now, one thing I need to bring up in particular is something that I've recently discovered playing this ROM hack. When I was a kid and I played this game, I played it on my Game Boy Color, right? So that means that these sticky things around inside this tree were blue. I just thought it was plastic. Nah. It actually turns out that that is sap. And even when I looked on the website called Mario Wiki, it also popped up with that as well. So I'm just kind of like, oh great. So after all this time, this has been sap, and I wasn't even aware about it, which is confusing considering this is set in a tree. But there you go. As soon as it showed me this color on this version, I just thought, oh, right, okay. And it just instantly clicked from there. But even still. There's these weird enemies that we're going to see right here that I'm just going to vaporize with my fire while spinning down because it's just so convenient. And also, oh man, I really like this power-up. And I believe this is the only time that we see this power-up in the Mario series. This is the Bunny Hood. It's basically a power-up that grants Mario flight. And the most interesting thing with this is if you hold down the A button, you flutter down slowly. But if you jump in the air and you tap the A button repeatedly, it actually gives you a lot of altitude and Mario descends a lot more slowly. And because of that, it allowed me to skip out a whole chunk of this tree level. Like, in this game, they give you so many alternative routes, depending on the way that you want to play. In ways, I suppose it's similar to Super Mario 3D Land-ish, except that one did have a bit more tricky courses if you're going to go for it. This is more just seeing what you're able to do when you experiment with all the types of different things. So after doing that, we could go on to the other levels, but I kind of would like to go back in there because there's something that I want to show off which is similar to Super Mario World. Okay, cutting back to here, instead of going down, I'm going to go to the right instead, and here's another important thing. Even though you are given powers, like right there, I was given the choice to choose between Fire Mario, I'm actually going to ignore it. You might find that depending on the way the level is designed, it might be better to use that power-up. Like, this one is more designed for the bunny hood, and also, this is needed to get access to the secret area. Yes, much like Super Mario World, there are secret exits for you to find in this. However, they don't just lead on to normal levels. Instead, these are basically bonus rounds that give you more access to coins, extra lives, and all sorts. You're going to see that right here, because if I go ahead and throw this Koopa Shell, it's going to go and take out all these enemies. However, I'm pretty sure in the other Mario titles, if you hit a combo of enemies, that gives you extra lives. For some reason, this isn't a thing in Mario Land 2. You get extra lives if you're invincible, and then you hit about 5 of them, but if you do it with an enemy, it doesn't seem to register. Why? I don't really know, but it doesn't really bother me too much, I'll say, because it is quite satisfying just watching them all get destroyed as they go through it like this. Not to mention the soundtrack in this is completely jolly, and there's even an enemy tracker at the bottom screen. So far I've defeated about 57 enemies. Every time you defeat 100 enemies, you get given a special star, which allows you to be invincible, and that is very useful for trying to do speedrunning methods. So after doing this, we are given the choice of going to the left level or the right level, which will lead on to the boss, and I'm going to start with the left. Right, so as we're going through this level, I might as well point out a thing that's going to explain about the structure of this. You might notice the background side of things for this LP involves the 6 golden coins, except they're all grayed out. Every time I get a golden coin by clearing one of the zones, one of those will fade into gold. And I'm going to be doing it to demonstrate the fact that you can beat the levels in any order that you wish. So they're not really going to appear next to each other in particular, just to give it a bit more difference, I suppose. The first enemy, though, that I'd like to explain about are these things right here, which here is the real way that you are supposed to say it or so, but I'm not really too sure how to pronounce it in the Japanese way. They are often referred to as bee flies. And they're quite a unique enemy, considering that every time you get close to one, they just fly away. The other one I kind of accidentally killed. That's actually the first time I've done that. I don't know how the bloody hell I did that, but there you go. I guess now I've just discovered that you can actually kill those things, which is, rather amusing to say the least. But yeah, they're mainly enemies that just kind of fly away from Mario, and they're quite unique. When it comes to talking about enemies, see, I'm mainly going to be talking about the ones which, I guess, ones that we can't really deal any damage on, or the ones that stand out, are more unique, if you will. However, we could go ahead and go on to that level again, or at least go to the level to the right, but I would like to go into this level again to demonstrate the sheer greatness that you can use the bunny hood for. So if I go ahead and just jump and use the bunny hood all the way across here, not only have I cut out a majority of the level, but I also have access to this over here, which grants me some Mario money. I believe that gives you about 100 coins, which is quite useful. But here's the real part. If I go ahead and jump on that block, I'm able to cut out the whole level, just like that. I find that such smart design, because you're given the choice, you know, you can play through it normally, or you can really just fly through the whole thing and just skip a whole bunch of stuff, and it's really ideal for speedrunning in particular. On this part though, you might find that I'm gonna go ahead and ditch that bunny hood and swap it for Fire Mario, because like I said before, some of the levels you might want to go ahead and swap to some of the power-ups. Interestingly enough, this game doesn't really have that many power-ups at all. In fact, there's 2. There's actually just Fire Mario and Bunny Mario. And even with just those 2 power-ups, you can do a lot of stuff with this. Here's a very unique thing to know though about this enemy right here. This is known as a skeleton bee, which, well, you can tell that. They will only die with a spin jump. I am mainly putting this out there because it will make life a lot easier, particularly at a certain point later in the game where you're going to come across enemies that take multiple hits. They take multiple hits if you jump onto them normally, but if you do a spin jump instead, they die in 1 hit, and man, that just makes life a lot more easier whenever it comes to it. My goodness. Especially with one of the skeleton bees over here. This section right here, as we go through this honey hive, I suppose, I'm only going to go ahead and get these coin blocks over here and then make my way to the right. That's because when I practiced this, I discovered that to the left there's not really too much interesting things. However, on this part, it's actually quite fortunate that I do have Fire Mario, because it means I can just take out this enemy without losing any of my powers. The right block over here contains a Starman. Yeah, you might kind of question what the hell that music is. I was a little bit confused about that to start with, because I thought, oh great, it's going to be the Starman theme, you know, similar to new Super Mario Bros. For the NES, but no, it's a little strange, and in Super Mario Land itself, they use the Can-Can theme, which I don't know why. I kind of prefer that one more over this, because it just, I don't know, it just doesn't really make me feel powerful or anything. It's just kind of, it's just there. I don't get it, really. Speaking of which, if you kind of want to check out a video where Super Mario Land is talked about, I would recommend you to watch Chugga Conroy's video on it, because, funny enough, by bloody coincidence, he just happens to do Super Mario Land as an April Fool's joke whilst I was producing Super Mario Land 2, which is bloody hilarious. I don't know why that happened, but even still, let's just move on to the main boss, shall we, and see what this one's like. And when it comes to the bosses in this game, I like them. They're maybe a little bit on the easy side, but believe me, it's nothing compared to Mario Land. I'll get onto that in a little bit though, because first off, I want to talk about this obstacle right here. Yeah, this isn't even an enemy as it's helping us out. These little dudes are known as Heavy Zeds. Now, I'm just going to throw out a little bit of trivia here, because I looked this up and found it quite fascinating myself. The reason why they're called Heavy Zeds is because over in the UK, instead of saying the word Z, we pronounce it as Z. So it's basically to emphasize them being heavy sleepers. I just thought it was quite interesting to throw out in places. But going back to the bosses, but what I was talking about in Super Mario Land, it used the similar style for New Super Mario Bros. On the NES, or in fact, no, it wasn't even called New Super Mario Bros., it was called just Super Mario Bros. I am so used to all these new Super Mario Bros. Games that that's pretty much the normal way that I explain it, so you know what, that's rather bloody humorous if I do say so myself. And I just barely made that with the star. I thought for a second there I would not make it, because you need to hit those things 5 times in order to get 1-ups. It's the only way. This boss right here is Big Bird. Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that they're given simple names for the enemies, because most of the times, Nintendo tend to use strange ones which are often quite hard to pronounce. My solution though to defeat this Big Bird is to kind of just use the bunny hood and then take him out just like that. And with that, we got our first coin. And that marks our first golden coin, which is faded on to this new layout and stuff, so hopefully that makes it a bit more easier to understand in the later episodes. Either way, I reckon at this sort of time it's good to call it off here for episode 1. In the next episode of Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins DX for the Game Boy, we will be moving onwards to another zone. Which one in particular? You'll figure that out when it's released, which will be tomorrow, because I'm going to release these on the daily. Take care guys, and I will see you all in the next episode.